The book is called Built for Adventure, and one of the reasons is some of the cars in the book were actually used in the adventure stories featuring Dirk Pitt. The Talbot Lago, which is probably the most expensive car in the collection, Pitt drove that, and near the end I had it blown up. They thought they were blowing Pitt up in the car. And I had actually had a couple of people write me and say, "Did you really blow up that car?" And I said, "No, it's alive and well, living in a warehouse in Colorado, you know." Well, the collection I think totals out about now is at 115. I'm often asked if I have a favorite, but it's always for a different reason. I love to drive the Bentley Blower, and just something about the Stutz Bearcat too. And so I like them all for different reasons. It's the same thing when somebody says, "Which is your best book?" And I said, sentimentally, I mean, I just like them all. My wife and I were driving in the country, and we saw a car for sale on a farmer's front lawn. I didn't pay much attention to it. My wife said, "Oh, look, there's a 46 Ford Club Coupe like I had in high school." So I went back and bought it for $400, and I restored the car out in the street. There was room in the garage, and I remember I even primered it with spray cans. I did have it painted in the original enamel and upholstered, but that was the first car. I think I was hooked early on. I was just a little kid. I was sitting playing in the gutter with the rest of the snipes, and here was this huge monster car, and I was just astounded. I'd never seen anything like that. I went in yelling for my mother to come see, but it was too late then. So that always hung with me. Many of the cars have stories on them. There's a 1913 Marmon I bought from a friend of mine, and the interesting story on that one was it was Howard Marmon's own car, and he beefed up the engine in it compared to the other Marmons he was selling, you know, in dealerships. And the car was used in the movie The Swan, and it was Agnes Moorehead and Grace Kelly who were driven around in it. One of the fascinating stories deals with a 1948 Packard convertible. We got the story from his son, but his father in 1948 went down to the Packard agency and he wanted a black one. So the salesman told him, "I'm sorry, we don't have any black ones." And he said, "Well, okay," and he starts walking out of the dealership. And the sales manager comes out and said, "Just a moment, we do have a black one down in the basement." So they go down the ramp into the basement, and here's this car covered by a tarpaulin. So they pull it off, and here it is, this black Packard. And the fellow said, "That's what I want, I'll take it." And they looked sheepishly at each other, the sales manager and the salesman. They said, "Well, there's a story you might not like about this car." And the fellow said, "What is it?" And it said it was originally purchased by the shady lady who owned the local bordello, and she was murdered in the car. And the fellow says, "I don't give a damn. I want a black Packard. I'll take it." I think probably one of the things that collecting and writing share is perseverance. Because you get an old car that you want to restore, and it can take 3 years, maybe more. And in the books, kind of the same situation. It's really perseverance, because once you start and sit down and you type chapter 1, you're committing yourself for the next year, 2, 3 years. An author has to be one of these nuts that has to finish what they start.